You can't tear yourself away from the information in this video. There are only 3 topics in total and plus a cherry on top. The second topic is just killer, and the cherry on top is also absolutely amazing. To be continued. Here's another piece of advice for the boys, as he said to the boys.
I think this is one of the things that boys often need. One of the most valuable things I learned as a guy was that I had a professor in college.
Gay.
You need this person in your friend group, so if you have a boy who is gay or non-binary or whoever it may be, they have someone they can turn to and say, I'm not alone.
Obama, you can just shut up, bro. Like, that's enough, bro. I don't know what you were getting at. I think you don't even know what you were getting at. I think he almost admitted that he's homosexual, and he had a little fling when he was in college with that professor. But I think he remembered that he's in front of the whole world, and people will cut out certain moments, so he kind of calmed down. I'm dead serious, not even kidding. I think Obama was kind of like that. He revealed just enough for you to understand where he got it from.
I think in prison, Barack will find plenty of gay friends, homosexuals, as we say, with whom he can discuss his own and the people's problems. Remember, at his first press conference after the inauguration, Trump told us where the direction would go.
Very badly. They treated everyone very badly. If you look at the Mueller investigation, it was a scam because it was set up illegally. It was based on false documentation and fake documents. Look at what happened. How many people suffered? Their lives were destroyed. And nothing happened to those who did this and started this scam. Where is Comey? Why? Where is Comey? What's happening with McCabe? What's happening with Lisa and Peter Strzok and Lisa Page? What's happening with them? It was a disgraceful setup for our country.
The press then went after Trump, calling him an angry, lying president.
Now, after Tulsi Gabbard released a huge number of documents proving that everything President Trump said was true, that there was a criminal conspiracy to frame Donald Trump and undermine his newly started administration. Now Chuck Grassley is launching a multi-pronged attack. Newly declassified documents show that the FBI, under the leadership of Comey, the Justice Department inspector, was covering up the Clinton email scandal. His team swallowed the Steele dossier and the lies and chased after the deception about collusion with Russia while taking a soft approach toward Clinton.
I want you to notice how the front of attack against Trump's people is expanding. We have Chuck Grassley, let's say, yes, very elderly, but still a very sharp senator, introduced yet another Hillary derivative who was guilty of practically the same treason against the homeland. Well, deleting emails, betraying the ambassador in Libya, conversations through an unsecured server. She was covered for and protected by the same people who organized the persecution of Trump and the Great December Deception. The deception of a country now already frightened, far from being fools. It may be possible to deceive part of the people, and from time to time, but it is impossible to deceive a society of individuals, of individualists, all the time and endlessly. The American grizzly has awakened. Now, dear Democrats, you are going to feel very bad, and it will last a long time. And here is Benny Johnson, with an audience of 5.5 million viewers, telling his story about the recently declassified report on how we were lied to about the Hillary Clinton investigation.
A recently declassified report from the Justice Department's watchdog shows that the FBI conducted the Clinton email investigation negligently. The documents indicate extreme negligence and a lack of proper diligence in the FBI's investigation of former Secretary of State Clinton's correspondence and mishandling of documents. Because everyone thought Hillary Clinton would become their boss, right? No one wanted to take the fall. She was supposed to become president. Remember, under Comey's leadership, the FBI didn't do basic investigative work and ignored key procedures and evidence. The FBI's careless approach under Comey, perhaps even the deliberate lack of effort in the Clinton investigation, stands in sharp contrast to the vigorous investigation of the so-called Trump-Russia collusion, which was based on the unverified and now completely discredited Steele dossier. According to him, Comey's decision-making process reeks of political bias. Well, what do we see here? The FBI did not investigate a key flash drive in the Clinton email case, according to the Justice Department's watchdog. Just look at this. According to part of the watchdog's report released just an hour ago, the FBI barely paid attention to the critically important flash drive. During the investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server while she was Secretary of State, a confidential source gave the FBI flash drives containing State Department data obtained through cyber hacks, including emails from President Obama. This report clearly states that Obama was also hacked through Hillary Clinton's email. According to a declassified appendix to the Inspector General's report from June 2008, federal authorities refused to conduct a thorough analysis of these drives due to concerns about personal data that ended up being exposed as a result of the hack, despite an internal memo that concluded it was necessary to assess the national security risks associated with Clinton's and Obama's servers.
So they started telling us that the Clinton information leak scandal also involved Barack, Obama, and his associates. They froze the investigation, deceived the people, and closed the case with Comey's famous speech in Congress. In my opinion, yes, it was in Congress. He said something like the following there. Maybe it was a press conference, but was it Congress after all? I think, yes, she did it. Yes, it's a crime, but no prosecutor will take this case. What did that mean? What if a prosecutor did take this case? They'd tear off everything that's hanging loose on him. But Comey, honestly didn't know which way he'd go until the very report. A lever.
Newly declassified Department of Justice report shows Obama wasn't inclined to deal with the scandal around Hillary Clinton's emails. That's why he ordered the FBI to cover it up. Amazing! Everything points to Obama. The report shows that Comey and his corrupt FBI subordinates deliberately sabotaged the Clinton investigation and refused to take basic investigative steps that would have revealed just how seriously Clinton jeopardized national security. It occurs to me that sometimes things like this are best explained in the form of a song. Just a reminder of what James Comey did for Hillary Clinton at that crazy press conference. After Hillary Clinton publicly stated dozens of times that there was no classified information on her server, James Comey said, "Oh yes, there are hundreds of documents with classified information. All of this is illegal and we're not going to do anything about it."
But in the end, he played both sides. Hillary is lying. There was a lot of classified documentation, information that she, sold. She broke the law, and we're not going to do anything about it, nor do we intend to. And now the time has come.
It's strange to watch the panic right now. A grand conspiracy to turn Aban into a weapon, paving the way for a special prosecutor. Oh, baby. Looks like there will be a special prosecutor, and people are very nervous. When James Comey released that video, the guy looked like he'd seen a ghost.
Now the bar is in serious danger. Trump and the officials leading the Department of Justice are hammering at the dam day after day, trying to turn it into another gold-plated Trump subsidiary. Our best hope is that good people will stay and do as Marin asked. Always have the courage to do the right thing. You could get fired for that kind of behavior, but there's honor in it.
Now he's urging Americans to fight so that his Comey doesn't end up in jail. You could get fired for that, but it's very honorable. It's honorable to be fired in the fight for Comey's freedom. And you, what do you think?
And nothing but disgrace for those who don't stand up to defend. There will be tough weeks in the Trump era, and this week was one of them for my family. But there are still many good people in the department who are committed to doing the right thing, committed to the rule of law. For them, because of them, don't lose faith.
First of all, do you have an intermediate system to intermediate system operator here or something? What is this, man? Some kind of hostage video? And secondly, you keep ramping up accusations, calling on federal agents to rise up against Donald Trump again, government to insurrect against Donald. You know what? That's a risky strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. I like this multi-front, multi-layered approach to the attack when he's getting hit from all sides. They're clearly scared and anxious. They're staying quiet, not showing up on social media or corporate television. Normally, they'd already be braying like donkeys, but now, wow, not a sound.
That's also Trump's strategy on all fronts from every side, so they don't know what to defend against or where to hide. And then Hunter popped up, remember him? And I think Biden means it seriously. After sniffing.
Drugs didn't really become a serious problem until the appearance of crack, this powerful and dangerous drug. Who doesn't know that?
Crack is? And it's a cheap version of cocaine that people smoke, and it contains, besides cocaine itself, also ammonia and baking soda. To stay high, you have to take a hit every 5 minutes, and you can live like that for years. And when you hear a beep, there will be beeps in the video. That means Hunter cursed really badly. We won't add any beeps in the Russian version, but listen.
Hunter Biden goes into a complete rage, attacking George Clooney's Democratic Party and everyone who helped ruin his father's election. Or his chance at the election, because they kicked him out ahead of time. And Hunter Biden names those who pushed his father out of the race. All right, here Hunter Biden furiously attacks the Democratic Party.
Opinion, but him, and everyone around him. I don't have to be damn polite. First of all, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. Damn it, George Clooney is not a damn actor. He's like, I don't know who he is. He's a brand. And by the way, yeah, God bless him. You know, they say he's really good to his friends. You know what I mean? He buys them things. And he has a great place on Lake Como. And he's on good terms with Barack Obama. Screw you. What do you have to do with anything? Why should I listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who gave 52 years of his life serving this country? And decide that you, George Clooney, will dedicate an entire page to... so that I... And James Carville, who hasn't been in a race for 40 damn years, and David Axelrod, who had one success in his political life. And that was Barack Obama, and it was thanks to Barack Obama, not damn David Axelrod. And David Plouffe, and all those guys and the guys from Pod Save America who were junior damn speechwriters. You know, in Barack Obama's Senate staff, who for years used their relationship with him to make millions of dollars. They came from a world that made $40 to $50 million off the Democratic Party. All of them will try to impose their opinions on a man who, more than anyone else, managed to get elected to the United States Senate more than 7 times. How do you pass more laws than any president in history?
Clooney checkmate, Obama checkmate. Obama's aides, triple checkmate. And Hunter's old man is gold-plated platinum, and not a stinky goat like everyone except Hunter thinks. So, how do you like this storm in the swamp? Jim is coming to your stable. And what does Hunter think about the liberal media?
Who is Jake Tapper's audience? Do they have my mom or something like that? I don't know, but honestly, I don't even think it's your mom, because by the numbers, what influence does Jake Tapper have on anything? He has the smallest audience on cable news. And besides, I think the book he just released on Amazon, his ratings just dropped after he released the book. You know, they did a 2-week infomercial for it. It was such a money grab, such disrespect to everyone he works with, that jerk.
Let Hunter Biden cook. Ladies and gentlemen, now of course you remember the debate that led to Joe Biden being kicked out by all the people mentioned, where Joe Biden came on stage and looked like he was on drugs.
Well, I was making sure that we could make every person fit for what I was able to do with COVID. Sorry, with what we had to do with. Listen, if we finally win Medicare, we're trying to find housing for Black Americans. Impact on.
Do you remember that night? It was hilarious and memorable. Ladies and gentlemen, Hunter Biden revealed that it was because Joe Biden wasn't himself and Joe Biden was on drugs. Hunter Biden suggests his father used drugs prior to the infamous debates. At 81 years old, he traveled the world feeling exhausted and they prescribed him Ambien. Well, let's listen.
What happened at those debates? He traveled all over the world. In fact, the distance he covered could have taken him around the world 3 times. Yeah, he's 81 years old. He's tired as hell. They give him Ambien so he can sleep. He comes out on stage and looks like a deer in headlights.
So, before debates and other important meetings and events, Joe was pumped full of drugs. But after Ambien, I think that's what it was called. In the morning, he's confused, depressed, loses his memory, and doesn't understand where he is. So that's how they put him up for the debates. Contour claims that his dad was set up to be removed.
In separate interviews released today, Biden revealed information Contour. I said that it was Nancy Pelosi who pushed his father out of office. Well done, Nancy. They made a decision, a clear decision.
A decision.
When I say they, I mean Speaker Nancy Pelosi. So, Hunter Biden has kind of a wild but very entertaining level of failure all across the small podcast circuit. He even made President Nayib Bukele of El Salvador speak out. Hunter Biden sniffs powdered milk. That's because Hunter Biden says that if he were president, he would invade El Salvador.
To think that we need to abandon all our values just to lead. I say, screw you. How are we going to get those people back from damn El Salvador? Because let me tell you, if I became president in 2 years, or in 4 years, or in 3 years, I would pick up the phone and call the damn president of El Salvador. And I would say, either you damn well send them back, or I'll pretend to invade. What they're doing is a damn crime.
All right, Kunta Biden is also losing it because of white men. Kunta Biden is running for president, isn't he? He talked about what skills he had that made him so valuable to the Ukrainian gas company.
Or a breakdown.
Hunter Biden. That's a legendary thing. I hope he gives more interviews. I like that.
I also really hope that Hunter, his mom Jill, his uncle, and all the other offended Bidens will give interviews every day. Because if we're lacking laughter and entertainment, that would be a wonderful morning and evening amusement. And I also really want to see Barack Obama's arrest. I want to see Michelle Obama's joyful reaction to this arrest. It would be great to listen to the hearings on the cases of Comey, Brennan, Clapper, Loretta Lynch, Susan Rice, or to find out that they ran off to Nigeria, all under the cover of night, and the natives brought them together there. It would also be nice to know how much of the money stolen from us was taken from the Clintons, including their daughter Chelsea, who also got a little bit. If you think the attack stops there, you don't know Trump. In another sector of the deep state, attacks have started. Christina Alm, former Dakota governor, is now effectively serving as the Secretary of the Interior. And also Tom Holman, who was born for the position of Chief Broom of the United States of America.
Secretary said it, Rodney said it, Sanctuary said it. The minister and the Rodney of the Sanctuary City both stated that this is a sanctuary for criminals, a sudden stop.
A sudden stop. Did you get it? So you heard Tom Holman, and you will hear from Kristi Noem. And by the way, if I were the mayor of Chicago, if I were the mayor of Los Angeles, if I were the mayor of Boston, I would really be listening to this very carefully right now. Meanwhile, Adam Schiff is now in the house of Schiff, so to speak. Oh my God, what's with these people and their mortgages? Trying to save a couple of percent here and there, you supposedly list Maryland as your primary residence instead of California. But do I even need to say supposedly? Here's what I'll say. I saw the documents. Donald Trump posted this on social media, and Adam Schiff is panicking because this is serious. This could really get up to 30 years.
The blow is aimed at city mayors who are hiding illegal criminals from deportation and at the New York prosecutor. Do you remember that beautiful girl who was falsifying evidence against Senator Adam Schiff, who was once given the title of the main liar of Congress? They're all being attacked at the same time so that each one has to defend themselves. But let's get back to the falsification and the so-called Russian trace in Trump's victory in 2016.
It all started with a meeting in December at President Obama's office, where all the key figures gathered with their successes, failures, and mistakes. All these major players, everyone there was ready, willing, and able to fulfill his request. And the end result was this nonsense and chatter, deceiving the American people.
In reality, Trump did not win the 2016 election. He lost the election, and he was put into office because the Russians interfered.
Trump knows that he is an illegitimate president.
The president, although elected legally, is not
legitimate. I do not consider this elected president to be a legitimate president. Did you say that you believe Russian interference changed the outcome of the election?
Yes, I do. We have a president who, if this is really proven, was supported by the Russians and may in fact not actually be a legitimate president.
The only thing Trump is afraid of when it comes to his presidency is that in the end, we will see just how illegitimate his victory really was.
I have an objection. I object to the 15 votes from the state of North Carolina. I object because people are horrified.
He's an illegitimate president. Do you think Trump is an illegitimate president? I believe there is no doubt that the outcome of this election was influenced by Russian interference.
Certainly there is a shadow of illegitimacy hanging over this, so legitimacy is not in question. So these were very tainted elections, and in that sense they are illegitimate.
All right, I had to show you this because I think I need to take you back in time so we can understand how serious this is and how they were promoting these theses as if they were the ultimate truth, even though all of it was false and was made up by Obama's associates. And here's what Tulsi found out. I want her to say it in her own words. I read this report again, and we'll go through it together today, but I think it's important for you to first hear Tulsi Gabbard, who is calling for Obama's arrest. Here she is speaking on Hannity's special episode that aired over the weekend.
It's important for each of us as Americans. This isn't a matter of party affiliation. This is about the integrity and strength of our democratic republic. And in those more than 100 documents you mentioned, which I declassified and released, it's all laid out in great detail. What happens when some of the most influential people in our country, specifically President Obama and his top national security leadership, are involved? James Comey, John Brennan, James Comey, James Clapper, Susan Rice, and others actually made a very deliberate decision to create this fabricated, politicized intelligence material with the goal of undermining the will of the American people.
We've heard this before, but I wanted to repeat it so that it sinks into each of our minds. Our government, the Barack Obama administration, fought against us. They acted against our interests, against our will, against our choice.
Donald Trump supports the historic victory over Hillary Clinton in November 2016. Even in the days following that election, the intelligence community continued to maintain its consistent assessment, which reflected the same view as in the months leading up to the election. Suddenly, in the early days of December, a daily presidential briefing was prepared. This report was prepared by various divisions of the intelligence community, which maintained the same assessment. Essentially, Russia did not try to hack the election. This daily presidential briefing. This document was withdrawn just a few hours before it was supposed to be published for the president the next morning. This document was never published until we made it public yesterday. The next day, President Obama convenes a meeting of his National Security Council, his top officials, to discuss what they called a delicate subject. And the results of that meeting, which we published yesterday, in these more than 100 documents, it is detailed how President Obama and his team, under his direction, created fabricated intelligence material that did not reflect the truth. Did Russia try to influence the outcome of the elections in the United States, which President Trump won in November of the year 2016? And how exactly it did that?
This is forgery, this is deception, and real betrayal of the motherland. Betrayal by Obama, who never loved it, not his motherland. But Schiff and Letitia love the motherland very much because this motherland allowed them to rob it and live well at our expense. Well, those fools who pay taxes. And here comes Trump.
Shifty Shift, he writes. Shifty Shift, he writes. In big trouble, he forged the loan documents. He once said that my son would go to jail because of the scam that Shifty Shift and the corrupt Democrats illegally fabricated. To stage a real coup, the coup we started the show with, right? My son did nothing wrong. He knew nothing about the fabricated story. He writes that it was an American tragedy. Now Shifty has to pay the price of prison for a real crime, not for the one invented by corrupt prosecutors. Wow, you're good. So this is what he posted. This follows what he also posted over the weekend, namely that he always suspected to be a fraud. And now he found out that the Fannie Mae Financial Crimes Unit concluded that Adam Schiff was involved in a persistent scheme of possible mortgage fraud. Adam Schiff said his primary residence is in Maryland, which I told you he did to get a cheaper mortgage and deceive America, when he should live in California because he was a congressman from California. I always knew that Adam Schiff was a fraud. He wrote that the fraud started with refinancing his mortgage with FSMA. It persisted through multiple Februaries. And that's something else, guys, because I want to show you another piece of evidence that Donald Trump presented. And it's bad. It's so bad that I'm telling you, Shifty Schiff is starting to get nervous. His reaction is nonsensical, as if he's clearly trying to cover his own tracks. You know what?
These honest guys from the Democratic Party lied and cheated in their political lives, just like they lied and cheated in their personal lives. It doesn't matter how big or small the forgery is. What matters is that the person allowed himself to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the cherry on the cake. But before that, my book Capitalism 101 is free, simply because we are like-minded people, or maybe just thinkers, because those who don't look at the facts, who don't use their heads to think, they are not thinkers. And a parrot and a crocodile, at the same time a monkey and an elephant. Here's the cherry on the cake. And here's the answer. Why do law-abiding citizens need weapons? Now you will see how 5 cars stopped near a jewelry store. About 20 masked raiders got out of them with bags in their hands and started smashing the display windows. But something completely unexpected happened for them. A gunshot was fired from the store, and they scattered like the wind. See for yourself. And what happened without the gun? A robbery. Maybe they would have beaten up a couple of employees, managed to grab some trinkets, taken them away, given them to the boss, gotten their cut, and brought home their honestly earned money. And the police, you might ask, would have come, written everything down, left, entered it into their computers, and after getting the salary we pay them, would have gone home to bring money to their families. Everyone's happy. But for some reason, yes, we get upset. All right, everyone. See you next time.